St. Augustine, Commentary on the Gospel of John, chapter 19, verse 17 to 22, following. And they took Jesus, he says, and led him away, and he, bearing his cross, went forth unto the place that is called Calvary, in the Hebrew Golgotha, where they crucified him. Jesus therefore went to the place where he was to be crucified, bearing his cross. A grand spectacle. But if it be impiety, that is, the onlooker, a grand laughing stock, if piety, a grand mystery, if impiety be the onlooker, a grand demonstration of ignominy, if piety a grand bulwark of faith, if it is impiety that looks on, it laughs at the king, bearing in place of his kingly rod the tree of his punishment. If it is piety, it sees the king bearing the tree of his own crucifixion, which he was yet to affix even on the foreheads of kings, exposed to the contemptuous glances of the impious in connection with that wherein the hearts of saints were thereafter to glory. For to Paul, who was yet to say, But God forbid that I should glory save in the cross of our Lord Jesus Christ. Galatians chapter 6, verse 14. He was commending that same cross of his by carrying it on his own shoulders and bearing the candelabrum of that light that was yet to burn, and not to be placed under a bushel. Matthew chapter 5, verse 15. Bearing therefore his cross, he went forth into the place that is called Calvary in the Hebrew Golgotha, where they crucified him, and to others with him on either side, one, and Jesus in the midst. These two, as we have learnt in the narrative of the other evangelists, were thieves with whom he was crucified and between whom he was fixed. Matthew chapter 27, verse 38, Mark chapter 15, verse 27, and Luke chapter 23, verse 33. Whereof the prophecy was sent before had declared, and he was numbered among the transgressors. Isaiah chapter 53, verse 12. And Pilate wrote a title also, and put it on the cross, and the writing was, Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews. This title then read many of the Jews, for the place where Jesus was crucified was nigh to the city. And it was written in Hebrew, Greek, and Latin, the King of the Jews. For these three languages were conspicuous in that place beyond all others. The Hebrew on account of the Jews who gloried in the law of God, the Greek because of the wise men among the Gentiles, and the Latin on account of the Romans, who at that very time were exercising sovereign power over many and almost all countries. Then said the chief priest of the Jews unto Pilate, Write not the King of the Jews, but that he said, I am the King of the Jews. Pilate answered, What I have written, I have written. Oh, the ineffable power of the working of God, even in the hearts of the ignorant. Was there not some hidden voice that sounded through Pilate's inner man with a kind, if one may so say, of loud-toned silence? The words that had been prophesied so long before in the very letter of the Psalms, corrupt not the inscription of the title? Psalm 57 and Psalm 40, Psalm 57 and 58. Here then you see he corrupted it not. What he has written, he has written. But the high priest who wished it to be corrupted, what did they say? Write not the King of the Jews, but that he said, I am the King of the Jews. What is it, madmen, that you say? Why do you oppose the doing of that which you are utterly unable to alter? Will it by any such means become the less true that Jesus said, I am the King of the Jews? If that can't be tampered with which Pilate has written, can that be tampered with which the truth has uttered? But is Christ King only of the Jews or of the Gentiles also? Yes, of the Gentiles also. For when he said in prophecy, I am set king by him upon his holy hill of Zion, declaring the decree of the Lord, that no one might say, because of the hill of Zion, that he was set king over the Jews alone. He immediately added, the Lord said unto me, You are my son, this day have I begotten you. Ask of me, and I will give you the Gentiles for your inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for your possession. Psalm 2, verse 6 to 8. Whence he himself, speaking now with his own lips among the Jews, said, Other sheep I have, which are not of this fold. Them also I must bring, and they shall hear my voice, and there shall be one flock and one shepherd. Chapter 10, verse 16. Why then would we have some great mystery, sacramentum in Latin, to be understood in this superscription, wherein it was written, King of the Jews, if Christ is King also of the Gentiles? For this reason, because it was the wild olive tree that was made partaker of the fatness of the olive tree, and not the olive tree that was made partaker of the bitterness of the wild olive tree. Romans chapter 9, verse 17. For inasmuch as the title King of the Jews was truthfully written regarding Christ, who are they that are to be understood as the Jews, but the seed of Abraham, the children of the promise, who are also the children of God? For they, says the apostle, who are the children of the flesh, these are not the children of God. But the children of the promise are counted for the seed. Romans chapter 9, verse 7 and 8. And the Gentiles were those to whom he said, But if you be Christ's, then are you Abraham's seed, and heirs according to the promise. Galatians chapter 3, verse 29. Christ therefore is King of the Jews, but of those who are Jews by the circumcision of the heart in the spirit, and not in the letter, whose praise is not of men but of God. Romans chapter 2, verse 29. Who belong to the Jerusalem that is free, our eternal Mother in heaven, the spiritual Sarah, who cast out the bondmaid and her children from the house of liberty. Galatians chapter 4, verse 22 to 31. And therefore, what Pilate wrote, he wrote, because what the Lord said, he said.